A peaceful morning turned into a nightmare when a cheerful little girl left her home, but never made it to school. What really happened along that short route of just a few minutes? And who was responsible for making her vanish without a trace? As the first clues began to surface, the entire community was consumed by deep concern over how disturbing they were.
Police in suburban Denver are still removing evidence from the home of a teenage college student in custody for the kidnapping and murder of 10-year-old Jessica Ridgeway.
Jessica Ridgeway was born on January 23, 2002, in a quiet residential neighborhood on the outskirts of Westminster, Colorado. She lived with her mother, grandmother, and aunt in a small but close-knit family. At 10 years old, Jessica, the daughter of Sarah and Jeremiah, was a fifth-grade student at Witt Elementary School. Her parents had been separated for years, with her father living in Missouri. But despite the challenges surrounding custody and support, Jessica maintained a good relationship with both of them. Her teachers described her as an enthusiastic student who was always smiling, eager to help her classmates, and quick to start conversations to make new friends. She was the type of child who raised her hand first, joined every classroom activity, and genuinely loved learning. Outside of school, Jessica often created her own dance routines and wrote little songs of her own. She adored animals, stayed curious about the world around her, and was always ready to try something new until she mastered it. Jessica's grandmother once said that she was a lively, energetic child who brought joy to everyone around her. On the cold, snowy morning of October 5, 2012, Jessica woke up at 7:45 a.m. to the alarm clock she had asked her mother for so she could practice being independent. After watching a bit of television, eating a granola bar, getting dressed, and peeling an orange with her mother to take to school, Jessica put on her thick coat and said goodbye before heading out on foot. Her first stop was Chelsea Park, where she met her friends every morning. The park was only about a 5-minute walk from her home, and from there the group would walk together to Witt Elementary School, just as they did every day. However, that morning Jessica never showed up at the meeting spot, forcing her friends to continue walking so they wouldn't be late for class. Her absence was completely out of character, as Jessica had never been late and genuinely loved going to school. When 10:08 arrived, and there was still no sign of her, the teachers grew concerned and called Sarah. But because Sarah had just finished an overnight shift from 10 p.m. to 7 a.m., she had fallen into a deep sleep after seeing her daughter off and didn't hear the call. The school left a voicemail, and it wasn't until 4:30 p.m. that she finally woke up and listened to it. At first, Sarah believed it had to be some kind of misunderstanding. She immediately drove to Chelsea Park, to the school, and then to the homes of several of Jessica's friends to look for her. But no one had seen the little girl at any point during the day, with no options left. Sarah contacted the Westminster Police Department.
My daughter's missing. I guess she never made it to school this morning.
How old's your daughter?
She's 10.
Okay, what's your daughter's name?
Jessica Ridgeway.
Sarah later recalled that at around 9:15 p.m., a heavy, sinking fear began to settle in her chest, the kind no parent ever wants to feel. By that point, investigators believed they had enough reason to consider the possibility that Jessica had encountered a serious situation involving being taken against her will. Shortly after, the Colorado Bureau of Investigation, working with local police, issued an Amber Alert. launching a large-scale search effort to determine the whereabouts of Jessica Ridgeway.
To show you this little girl's picture, Jessica Ridgeway. She never made it to school, and right away the school called the little girl's mother. The mom works nights, so she didn't get the message until much later in the day, and that's what's bringing us to where we are right now. A massive search taking place. Right now, police along with the CBI have issued an Amber Alert, and the reason is this. It's because of the amount of time that has passed since she was last seen.
At least 50 police officers, including the FBI, are searching right now.
When we start with an 8-hour delay or a delay as substantial as this, the distance that she could have wandered, even on her own, just gets huge.
Police say Jessica's father, who lives out of state, is in a custody battle with Jessica's mother. They do not believe Jessica is with him, but are not ruling anyone out.
We don't have a person of interest, and we're going to look at every angle.
Nothing like this has really ever happened. Like, it's always surprising when something happens here.
So as you can hear from that interview, this is a very serious situation. Normally Jessica meets some friends at a park, which is just about 3 blocks from her home. Then the entire group walks to Witt Elementary. The girls that she usually walks with have been interviewed. They did not see her today, but at such a young age, as of 10 years old, they just did not think much of it. Again, we do want to show the picture of Jessica Ridgeway, 10 years old, 4'10" in height with shoulder blonde hair. She has blue eyes. She is wearing a winter jacket, I'm told, a black puffy jacket, but with weather like this, it's still of concern. Again, search is taking place across Westminster. In fact, if you are concerned, you would like to help, you can come here to the Westview Recreation Center. We're at the intersection of 108 and Oak, again, in Westminster. Teresa.
Night fell quickly, and the temperature dropped sharply, making the search increasingly difficult and forcing it to continue through the night. Fire crews deployed thermal imaging equipment to help them see in the dark and set up lighting systems around Chelsea Park, which was considered an important point along Jessica's usual morning route. Police also considered using a helicopter equipped for nighttime observation, but the weather was so cold that the blades risked freezing, forcing them to suspend any aerial support.
We're using every resource we have. We're trying to use air or helicopters that have equipment that can search in the dark. Unfortunately, the weather has grounded those, so we're not able to use that tool. We've brought our fire department in, who has equipment that sees in the dark, thermal imaging equipment, so they're out searching with that. Over 400 faculty and every parent that has a student attending Witt Elementary has received the notification that Jessica is missing.
When the sun comes up, police say they will be bringing in even more people to help search for Jessica. They're also hoping for a break in the weather so they can get helicopters up to search from the sky.
By around 2 a.m., authorities asked volunteers to temporarily return home to rest and come back the next morning when daylight would make the search easier. Westminster Police also set up a mobile command center and continued calling for community participation, making it clear that they had no shortage of support. Officers searched every house, yard, and large surrounding areas such as creeks, open fields, and nearby wooded spots. They spoke with numerous residents and collected roughly 700 biological samples for comparison. At key intersections, police established checkpoints and photographed vehicles entering and leaving the neighborhood to preserve information for the investigation. Meanwhile, most mailboxes and trees along the streets were wrapped with purple ribbons, Jessica's favorite color, serving as a reminder of her presence and symbolizing the community's unity in the effort to find her. During the process of gathering information at the home, investigators found a notebook and several homework assignments on Jessica's desk. In it, one page read, "Don't play alone at the park, and be careful of strangers." This showed that Jessica was a cautious child who understood personal safety, making it highly unlikely that she would willingly approach someone she didn't know. From there, authorities focused on two main possibilities. Either Jessica had been approached by someone familiar whom she might have trusted, or she had been taken suddenly without any chance to react. As the situation grew more urgent, the Westminster Police Department quickly requested additional support. The FBI and roughly 12 other law enforcement agencies immediately joined the investigation. In a short amount of time, more than 1,000 people helped review over 4,000 incoming tips, creating one of the largest search operations the area had ever seen. 4 days after Jessica disappeared, her family was finally able to leave the house to face the media and make an official statement. It had been an incredibly difficult period, one that made it nearly impossible for them to step outside until that moment. Even so, the family fully cooperated with authorities, including providing the necessary biological samples needed for comparison and investigative purposes.
And Mike, the FBI Mobile Evidence Response Team unit, they were inside this home much of the afternoon for about 2 hours. They've since left, but they first arrived not even 10 minutes after the Ridgeway family left the home. This FBI Evidence Response Team on standby, soon putting on gloves, covering their shoes, then walking in the front door, inside, outside, looking for any sign of Jessica.
And this is the first time we are hearing from Jessica's mother and father. Both deny any involvement in her disappearance. Both are holding out hope.
She's my rock. She's all of our rock.
A mother.
The bright voice of my little girl. She needs to come home.
And a father.
I try to stay positive about it, but yeah, it's hard. I just want to find my daughter.
I watch her walk out the door and I shut the door, and that's the last time I saw her, and I want to come walking back through that door.
After searches by ground and by air, still no sign of the 10-year-old. And the reality of all of this is now very real.
That is not ever anything I want any parent to go through.
Police ruled out any involvement from Jessica's parents in her disappearance, and their sense at that point was that this was a case of a child being taken by a stranger. The next day, a resident in the town of Superior, about 6 miles from Jessica's home, found a backpack and several personal items left near his neighborhood. At the time, he didn't realize they belonged to Jessica. Inside the backpack were glasses, a water bottle, and a few pieces of clothing that carried an unpleasant odor. Attached to the zipper was a keychain labeled Jessica, but because he didn't connect the discovery to the search effort happening in Westminster, which seemed far from his area, he posted it on the local townless forum with a message that read, "If this belongs to someone, please come claim it." Someone later linked the post to Jessica's disappearance and immediately called 911. Sarah shared that when she heard about the backpack, she felt a faint spark of hope that her daughter might still be found safe.
Over the weekend, a glimpse of optimism for the family when Jessica's backpack and water bottle were found in another subdivision 6 miles away.
I felt a sliver of hope. I figured, if something really bad happened to her, they wouldn't have got rid of the backpack just sitting there.
But just 1 day later, that small glimmer of hope vanished when a new discovery was reported. One far more serious and deeply troubling.
Late Wednesday night, police announced a body had been found near a park in the Denver suburb of Arvada. At this point, they won't officially confirm it is 10-year-old Jessica Ridgeway, but multiple police sources tell ABC News they believe it is the girl's body.
About 6 miles from Jessica's home, a group of maintenance workers discovered a bag with an unusual weight lying on the side of the road. Realizing that something was not right and that it might be connected to the ongoing search, they did not open the bag and immediately called police and K9 units to inspect it. When authorities arrived and conducted an assessment, the contents were identified as remains belonging to a small body, Later analysis confirmed that these were traces connected to Jessica, although many other parts were still missing, and the exact cause of her passing could not be determined right away. At the scene, officers also noted the presence of a wooden cross. Although its precise placement in relation to the recovered traces was not released, several sources indicated that it was found very close, while others suggested it might have held even greater relevance. Even so, investigators only confirmed that it was among the significant pieces of evidence in the effort to uncover the truth. Westminster Police Chief Lee Burke stated that from the moment those serious traces were discovered, the focus of the entire force shifted from a search effort to a mission centered on uncovering the truth and ensuring justice for Jessica. He emphasized that the presence of a dangerous individual within the community required heightened vigilance from authorities, while also offering words of support to the Ridgeway family during this period of profound loss and hardship.
We pray for the Ridgeway family that you would comfort them.
Prayer, candlelight, and song Saturday night to remember a life taken far too soon.
It amazes me that people can be that sick in this world.
Hundreds took part in the vigil for Jessica Ridgeway in Westminster, Heather Fong and her family among them after her son said he wanted to light a candle for Jessica.
I feel like it kind of takes their childhood away because you teach them the world is a really good place, but then you have to train them now that you can't talk to strangers.
As the community mourns the loss of Jessica, police are stepping up efforts to find her killer. Saturday, investigators continue trying to develop leads. They've been going over sex offender lists and have even been reviewing data from cell phone towers around key locations in the case, hoping if a number registered at all of them, it could help lead to a suspect.
I don't know if you can make sense of it. You know, we just need justice for Jessica, though. And so all the kids are safe in the neighborhood.
Investigators quickly noticed a similarity to an incident that had occurred 4 months earlier, on Memorial Day, near the Kettner Lake area. At that time, a female jogger was approached from behind by a man who used a cloth soaked in a harmful substance to overpower her. He attempted to pull her into a nearby bush, but she fought back fiercely and managed to escape. Because the incident happened so quickly, the only description she could provide was that the individual was a white male of average build, standing about 5 feet 6 inches to 5 feet 8 inches tall. The location of that incident was only a short distance from where Jessica was believed to have disappeared. When the biological analysis results came back, the traces found in the Kettner Lake case matched those recovered from the remains connected to Jessica. This confirmed that both incidents were linked to the same individual, opening an important investigative direction for authorities. FBI spokesperson Dave Jolie stated that the community needed to remain more alert than ever in light of the presence of an unidentified, dangerous individual. To support the investigation, the FBI released a behavioral profile outlining potential characteristics of the person they were seeking, encouraging residents to report any unusual behavior they might notice in the area.
We're going to begin this half hour with the Colorado community on edge as police search for 10-year-old Jessica Ridgeway's killer.
In Jessica Ridgeway's community of Westminster, Colorado this morning, there is sadness, anger, and fear.
This is horrible. This is absolutely horrible.
That a killer is on the loose.
I want to stress that we recognize that there is a predator at large in our community.
With state, local, and federal agents working Jessica's murder, police have scoured her neighborhood and the community for clues. More than 1,500 tips have poured in, 500 homes searched. A manhunt underway for a killer still on the street. Former FBI profiler Clint Van Zandt.
This is a whole nother type of predator. Number one, to commit a horrible act to kidnap a child, but number two, to dispose of a body this way puts this guy in a breed almost by himself.
We haven't identified an individual, so we're talking and conveying to our community the importance of looking at behavioral changes. Unfortunately, it's somebody's family member, a neighbor, a friend.
Dozens of worried residents came to Tom Ulbrich Saturday for crisis counseling.
Our behavioral analysis unit wants to convey a message to the community and to the public as a whole They're looking for abnormal behavior, changes in someone's behavior from Jessica's disappearance last Friday until today. It could be something as simple as shaving of their face, could be changing of hair color, cutting of their hair, change in their mood, their personality, parking a vehicle in their garage, and they've always parked it in their driveway. So we suspect that someone in the community knows this individual, and we're asking for the community support once again. The community has been very supportive in the efforts so far to this investigation, and we're asking that they would do this one more time to help us gather new leads and new information to bring this to a conclusion.
More than 3,000 people gathered at a memorial in Arvada to honor the life of Jessica Ridgeway. Surrounded by shades of purple, her favorite color, attendees listened to her beloved songs, while a video montage of Jessica played, allowing everyone to remember the beautiful moments she brought into the world. The memorial brought together police officers, volunteers, neighbors, friends, and many others who had never met Jessica, but felt moved by the ongoing case and wanted to show their support and sympathy for her family. Everyone came together to demonstrate unity, compassion, and deep respect for Jessica Ridgeway.
Those of us involved in this case, unfortunately, never had the privilege of knowing your wonderful daughter. But I can honestly tell you, we feel like we did. We feel like she's part of our family, and we feel like we've lost part of our family.
After detectives released the image of the cross necklace recovered at the scene, a resident living near the Segrist family recognized it and immediately contacted the FBI. She expressed concern about a 17-year-old named Austin Sigg, who lived in the area with his mother, Mindy. According to her, Austin had an unusual fascination with topics involving loss and with observing objects in stages of decay, which made her feel compelled to alert authorities. When approached, Austin cooperated and provided the FBI with a biological sample for comparison. He stated that at the time of Jessica's disappearance, he had been asleep at home. Agents also noted that Austin was wearing a cross necklace with a design very similar to the one previously found. Even so, after collecting the sample and conducting the initial interview, investigators continued their canvass of the area while keeping the information related to Austin as part of their comprehensive review process. During the broad sweep of the investigation, authorities collected a large number of biological samples and swabs from many individuals in the area for comparison. The testing process worked in such a way that after each sample was analyzed, it was returned in an envelope labeled with the person's name. If the envelope came back empty, it meant that the individual's biological sample did not match the traces recovered in Jessica's case. Austin's sample followed this same procedure, and when the envelope with his name was returned empty, investigators temporarily ruled him out and shifted their focus to others on the list who still needed to be examined. On October 22nd, the media began reporting on the biological match between Jessica's case and the earlier attack on the female jogger near Kettner Lake. That same day, Austin appeared noticeably distressed, telling classmates he felt dizzy and unwell. That night, he even slept in the same bed as his mother, Mindy, instead of in his own room as usual. The following morning, Austin said he had something he needed to confess. Mindy immediately asked whether it had anything to do with Jessica, explaining that she had a very strong feeling about it. When Austin confirmed her fear, Mindy collapsed to the floor in tears, overwhelmed by the truth unfolding before her. Their conversation continued in a state of shock. Austin said he would have to face legal consequences, and Mindy responded that she understood, telling him he needed to contact the police. Austin asked if she could make the call for him. Mindy then picked up the phone and dialed 911. The call lasted nearly 18 minutes, but only part of it was released due to numerous details that needed to be withheld during the investigation.
Hi, this is Molly at Westminster Police. Can I help you? Hi, I need you to come to my house. My son wants to turn himself in for the Jessica Ridgeway murder. Can you tell me exactly what he said? That he did it, and he gave me details, and her remains are in my house. Did you see them? No. Is he there with you? Yes. Is he cooperative? Yes. What is your son's name? Austin Sig. Okay, I understand that you're probably, feeling pretty crappy right now, but I want you to know that you did the right thing. He did it. He just wanted me to call. He is turning himself in. Okay, do you think that he's going to be cooperative with the officers? Absolutely. Okay. Do you think that Austin would talk to me? Will you talk to him? Yeah, hold on. Okay. Hello? Is this Austin? Yes, it is. Hi, Austin. This is Molly at the Westminster Police Department. Hi. Can you tell me a little bit about what's going on right now, or how you're feeling, or how did this come about?
I don't exactly get why you're asking these questions. I murdered Jessica Ridgeway.
Okay.
I have proof that I did it. There is no other question. You just have to send a squad car, something down here, and I will answer all the questions that you want to ask, or anyone wants to ask of me as soon as you gotta get down here.
Okay. Have you committed any crimes like this before? Do you have a criminal history of any sort?
The only other thing that I have done that before this was the Kettner Lake incident where the woman got attacked. That was me.
Ma'am, I understand you want to call your husband, and I'm sorry, but I would like to keep you guys on the phone just until the officers get a little bit closer. Well, how far are they? They're going to be there in just a few minutes. Is Austin still there with you? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I won't let him out of my sight. Okay. Has Austin been diagnosed with any mental health issues? Does he see a counselor or take any medication? He saw a counselor years ago for porn. Okay. I can't breathe. Take some deep breaths for me. Do you want me to start you an ambulance? No. Are you sure? I'm sure. Okay, what just happened? I opened the window. What's that? I just opened the window. Okay. I need air. Okay. Mindy, take a couple deep breaths for me, okay? You tell me when the officers get there. They're coming to your front door. Okay? I don't see them. I don't see them yet. You don't see them? No. Is Austin okay with you right now? Yeah, he's just getting really anxious, and so am I. Okay. They're here. They're coming up. They're coming up to the door? Yeah. Okay. Do you see the plainclothes officers and their badges? Yeah, they're here. Okay, I'll let you go speak with them, okay? Okay. Okay, thank you. Okay, bye. Goodbye.
"19 days after Jessica Ridgeway disappeared, Austin Sig arrived at the police station and began admitting to his actions. He stated that he had previously attempted to overpower the female jogger using a harmful substance he had mixed himself. When the victim fought back and escaped, the incident did not stop Austin. Instead, it pushed him to consider shifting his focus to someone younger and easier to overpower. During his interview with investigators, when asked what might have happened if the Kettner Lake incident had succeeded, Austin responded that he likely would have carried out actions similar to those involved in the case connected to Jessica.
So you were out, for a better word, hunting?
Yeah, that's the only word I can think of.
And did you know Jessica?
No.
Had you ever seen her before?
At the time of the incident, Jessica had been playing at the park, and Austin Sigg was watching her from a distance as she tossed small snowballs. He parked his Jeep in a spot that was out of sight, then continued observing Jessica as she left the park and walked off with a snowball still in her hand. He waited until she was about to cross the street, then lowered himself into the back seat to avoid being seen. When Jessica walked past, Austin suddenly stepped out of the vehicle and overpowered her, pulling her inside the Jeep. Jessica reacted and cried out, but the area was quiet and no one heard her. Austin used plastic restraints to bind her hands and feet, leaving her unable to free herself. He described the location, the timing, and the entire sequence of events as something he chose in a spontaneous way. Austin stated that the moment he pulled Jessica into the vehicle, he realized the situation had already passed the point where he could turn back. During the drive, Jessica repeatedly asked who he was and whether he knew her mother. Austin said he responded with calming reassurances, telling her that everything would be all right. He then drove her to his home, and what happened there is known only through his statements. He explained that he carried Jessica to his room, removed the plastic restraints from her wrists, and turned on some animated shows for her to watch. He repeatedly told her she would soon be back with her mother. When Jessica's clothes became wet, Austin gave her a white shirt and a pair of black shorts of his own to change into. He also admitted to cutting a portion of Jessica's hair during this time. After that, Austin told Jessica to turn around and stand where he directed before committing an act that left her unable to resist. Austin stated that he had been driven by distorted thoughts when he approached Jessica, but he insisted that he did not carry out any direct harmful violation against her. In his subsequent account, Austin admitted that he had improperly handled Jessica's remains in the bathroom and placed them into 2 separate bags before temporarily storing them near the pool house and later attempting to dispose of them elsewhere. He also described removing each part according to what he claimed he had learned from a forensic science class, something that revealed an alarming level of distortion and emotional detachment in the way he acted. Austin then directed investigators to the crawl space beneath the house, where additional portions were found and recovered. He also stated that he had attempted to dispose of some smaller pieces through the drainage system. Though this effort was unsuccessful, a later examination of the home's plumbing confirmed the presence of biological traces, supporting his admission about the improper attempts at disposal. According to investigative findings, Jessica was no longer able to respond by the time authorities launched the large-scale search effort. Hours after their interview with Austin, investigators discovered that his biological sample had never actually been analyzed due to an error that resulted in the envelope labeled with his name being returned empty. Realizing this was a serious mistake, they immediately requested a new test, and the results showed that Austin's biological traces matched those collected in the earlier incident involving the female jogger, as well as those recovered in Jessica's case. When authorities examined the Jeep Austin admitted using to take Jessica into the vehicle, they found several cut plastic restraints inside. Former Deputy District Attorney Hal Sargent stated that Austin's decision to discard some of Jessica's personal items was not random. According to him, these objects were chosen to send a message that she was no longer able to return, including her glasses, coat, socks, and clothing that still carried lingering odors. This assessment suggested that Austin had made deliberate choices in attempting to conceal evidence rather than acting purely on impulse. Austin was believed to have had a long-standing and distorted fascination with topics involving loss and funeral-related practices, and he had expressed an interest in working in the funeral service industry. While attending a community college, he enrolled in courses on mortuary science and related subjects. Austin also admitted that from the age of 12, he had been exposed to inappropriate and negative online material that influenced his thinking and behavior in a harmful way. According to him, this content became increasingly extreme over time and contributed to the development of misguided ideas about behavior, ethics, and social boundaries. Austin's parents had divorced years earlier, but continued trying to work together to support him. In 2008, they took him to see a counselor affiliated with a religious organization in hopes of helping redirect his behavior. However, according to Austin, those counseling sessions did not bring meaningful change, and his troubling fixations continued to develop in an unstable direction. Austin stated that his distorted thoughts gradually became more serious over time, progressing so slowly that he didn't realize how much his behavior was changing. He explained that the negative content he had been exposed to had a strong influence on him and slowly began to take over his thinking, making it increasingly difficult for him to control himself. After his period of therapy and religious counseling, Austin believed for a short time that he had improved, but according to him, that stability lasted less than a month before the troubling thoughts returned. By 2009, the physicians who had been assisting Austin contacted his father, Robert, and recommended limiting Austin's access to television and computers in an effort to reduce the impact of inappropriate material.
All right, well, police in suburban Denver are still removing evidence from the home of a teenage college student in custody for the kidnapping and murder of 10-year-old Jessica Ridgeway.
Austin Sigg was prosecuted as an adult and faced a total of 17 charges, including 4 counts related to the severe incident that led to Jessica's passing and 2 counts involving taking her against her will. Although Austin denied carrying out any direct harmful violation against her, the negative online material he had previously accessed, along with his history of concerning behavior, led prosecutors to add 3 additional charges. As a result, Austin was also charged with actions involving serious ethical misconduct, unlawful possession, and exploitation of a minor after investigators found inappropriate content on his personal devices. In the case involving the female jogger near the Kettner Lake area, Austin also faced charges for intentional harm, taking the victim against her will, and serious violations of moral and legal standards.
New courtroom sketches of Austin Sigg, the teenager pleading not guilty to killing 10-year-old Jessica Ridgeway, even though he admitted it.
Well, this could very well be a placeholder plea. Even though Austin Sigg pled not guilty on all counts, he has the option to modify that later, including guilty and not guilty by reason of insanity.
Austin's father, Robert, released a statement saying that no words could fully express the sadness his family felt for the loss the Ridgeway family was enduring. He explained that he and his relatives were devastated when they learned that his son, Austin Sigg, had been taken into custody, and that this severe situation was a tragedy affecting both families as well as the entire community. In his statement, Robert also urged people to offer support to Austin's mother, who had been forced to make an incredibly difficult yet courageous decision, one that any parent would struggle to face, in order to ensure the case was handled properly. Mindy, who voluntarily turned her son in to authorities, shared that she carried a deep sense of anguish, not because she had any involvement in the incident, but because she was the one who brought him into the world and could not understand how things had taken such a turn. On the Ridgeway side, Sarah, Jessica's mother, emphasized that nothing Mindy did contributed to Austin's actions, and that the way she raised her son had no connection to what happened. Mindy said Austin had once been a sweet, bright, and somewhat sensitive child, and it was heartbreaking to witness such a change. She shared that for a long time. Her life revolved entirely around trying to understand, process, and face what her son had done, to the point where she no longer cared about music, television shows, or anything else, because every thought was consumed by who her child had become. A former classmate who had attended middle school with Austin said he had always been noticeably different from the rest of the students. Austin was considered very intelligent, but he often isolated himself, talked to himself, and occasionally acted awkwardly in social settings. Even though he performed well academically, his grades gradually declined, and Mindy, Austin's mother, knew that he had been teased in the past because of his distinctive voice. Not long after, Austin left high school and began working toward his equivalency diploma. Over time, many people around him started to feel uneasy about his increasingly unusual behavior. A neighbor named Emily recalled that when news spread about Jessica's disappearance, her 11-year-old daughter immediately said she knew who might be involved, reflecting the sense of worry Austin had created among the younger members of the community where he lived.
I feel bad that I dismissed it.
When Emily Alexander's 11-year-old daughter said she knew who kidnapped Jessica, no one believed her.
She goes, "Mom, oh my God, I know who did it." And I go, "Who?" And she goes, "The goth teenager from the park."
At this park just down the road, she says a teenage boy had been acting strangely, staring at her daughter, walking by their home.
And she pointed him out right across the street from our house.
Emily Alexander says her daughter's friends may have been what saved her.
If she had been at the park alone, there's no telling, what could have happened. I should have let her know that the moment she feels uncomfortable, that she should trust that, and that, it's better to be safe than sorry.
Emily Alexander believed that the fact her daughter always walked with friends may have protected her from unpredictable risk. Because if she had stayed alone at the park, no one could know what might have happened. She shared that she wished she had taught her daughter to trust her own sense of unease and always prioritize personal safety. At this stage, Austin Sigg chose to plead not guilty to all charges in both Jessica Ridgway's case and the incident involving the female jogger. This decision came as a major surprise to the public and to investigators, especially given Austin's detailed statements and the significant traces found in his home that showed clear involvement. Moving the case toward trial was considered extremely difficult, as it would require presenting the full and severe sequence of events in court. Austin was only 17 at the time of the incident, meaning he was not subject to the highest penalties under the law. However, if convicted, he could face a life sentence with the possibility of parole review after 40 years. Austin's attorneys argued that his actions were impulsive and that he himself was trying to understand why he had made such harmful choices. They stated that during pregnancy, Austin's mother had inhaled paint fumes and suffered a fall down the stairs, and that the delivery process was complicated due to the use of medical equipment, resulting in Austin being born with an issue affecting his head. The attorneys also mentioned that Austin had experienced serious intestinal problems and had undergone 3 surgeries during childhood. His family background was also brought up, including his parents' divorce and repeated interactions with authorities over minor domestic issues. Austin's father, Robert Sigg, was noted to have faced multiple legal difficulties, including financial problems, traffic-related behavior issues, family disputes, and other violations, creating an unstable environment for Austin throughout many years.
The court would be presumptuous and speculative to assume at this early age, because of an act by a child, that that child would never be appropriate for parole.
However, Anna Salter, a psychologist who reviewed the investigative records related to the case, stated that she found no indication that Austin had experienced any severe trauma during his childhood. She added that although his parents had divorced, Austin's home environment was generally stable and he received adequate support from his family. In her assessment, Austin showed no empathy for Jessica Ridgeway, and his actions were not impulsive choices followed by regret, but the complete opposite. Prosecutors also emphasized that Austin's behavior pattern revealed clear signs of preparation. Prior to the incident, Austin had searched for information on how to create homemade incapacitating substances, as well as phrases such as top 10 places where victims are taken against their will. These searches, along with the various distorted content he had previously viewed and admitted to, were considered significant factors in evaluating the level of planning and intent behind Austin Sigg's actions.
The founding fathers of this country did not set forth an amendment that says when a young man kidnaps, robs, sexually assaults, and murders and dismembers a 10-year-old girl, that everything other than the murder should be excused.
What we do know is that this young man is dangerous. The only way to protect the community from him is to keep him confined forever. They have never seen an offense like this committed by someone under 18, ever. Not in this county, not in this state, not in this country.
Austin was held in the juvenile section of the Jefferson County Detention Center, completely separated from the adult inmate population, nearly 1 year after Jessica disappeared, and just 2 days before the official trial was set to begin. Austin abruptly changed his position and admitted to 15 of the charges brought by prosecutors. These charges included causing the severe incident that led to Jessica's passing, taking the victim against her will, serious ethical violations involving a minor, and several other improper actions identified during the investigation.
Justice for Jessica delivered today. It's been just over a year since 10-year-old Jessica Ridgeway disappeared. Well, today, her teenage killer, Austin Sigg, learning he will spend the rest of his life behind bars.
He got life in prison for the murder charge, plus 86 consecutive years on top of that for the kidnapping, sexual assault, and robbery charges. One of Sigg's attorneys mouths, "Are you okay?" Sigg replies, "Yeah, I'm fine." He was expressionless most of the day.
It was truly a reflection of pure evil, and Austin Sigg deserves everything he got.
Austin Sigg was sentenced to 40 years for causing the severe incident that led to Jessica Ridgeway's passing, and the judge added another 86 years for the additional wrongful actions he was held responsible for. Although the law states that because Austin was under 18 at the time, he could theoretically be considered for parole after a certain period, the stacking of these additional sentences completely eliminated that possibility, meaning Austin will spend the rest of his life in prison. District Attorney Peter Weir emphasized that no lenient agreements were offered in this case and that prosecutors did not accept any concessions. The judge agreed with that position and stressed that the nature of the case required a firm and decisive sentence. Throughout the sentencing, Austin chose not to speak and showed no visible emotion as the final decision was read in court.
So, I'm actually not going to say anything today because I don't think that the defendant has the right to hear how he affected me, my family, or who Jessica was. Once we walk out of this courtroom, we'll not remember his name, and we'll all only remember Jessica and the legacy she created, as well as the Lassie project in which she inspired. Thank you. Thank you.
Mindy said she never regretted her decision to call the police and turn in her son. believing it was the only way the situation could be handled properly. She later entered therapy to cope with the complex emotions the incident left behind. Although she still thinks about Austin and misses the child she once knew, Mindy explained that she can no longer maintain contact, and Austin has not reached out to her either. She said part of the reason is that she does not believe she would receive an honest or clear answer from him, and what she needs most is the truth. When asked if she had anything she wished to say to the Ridgeway family, Mindy shared that if there were anything she could do to change the outcome of the incident, she would give anything. She said she wished she could undo everything that happened and bring Jessica back, and even as time passes, the feeling of remorse never goes away. Jessica's grandmother said the entire family felt deep compassion for Mindy because they understood that she, too, had lost a child in a heartbreaking but very different way. She shared that although the circumstances between the two families were not the same, the loss of a child is a pain any parent struggles to overcome. She explained that if they had been allowed to embrace Mindy in court to express their sympathy, they would have done so, but the rules did not permit it. What the Ridgeway family wants Mindy to know is that they always think of her and understand the burden of loss she carries.
And this park has just been transformed here. Everywhere you look, there are hints of Jessica, from the purple that is speckled throughout the park to this dragonfly teeter-totter, which we're told represents a school project she was particularly fond of that she was working on at the time of her disappearance.
A memorial playground was built in Jessica's honor, featuring a custom rail nearly 40 feet long, knock-knock jokes contributed by her classmates, and a specially designed swing set decorated with ribbons, all in purple, Jessica's favorite color. Around the same time, the local community also pushed forward the development of the Lassie Project, a free service that allows parents and guardians to instantly notify the surrounding area if their child goes missing, helping speed up response time in emergency situations. The Jessica Ridgeway Cheer Camp was also created to celebrate a dream Jessica once shared. She often told her mother that when she was old enough, she would join the cheer squad and promised she would be a kind and encouraging cheerleader to everyone. 5 years after losing her daughter, Sarah welcomed a baby girl named Anna.
The reminders of her are everywhere.
Lots of purple.
Her sweet 10-year-old smile.
Her pictures everywhere.
Her favorite color.
We all still wear purple. Purple's everywhere in our house.
I think she makes her presence known.
That's how Sarah Pindell Ridgeway and her family remember Jessica.
We still talk about her. She still exists for us.
Yes, it's hard, and it's the hardest thing that anybody could possibly do is to move forward. I need to remember who she was and who I would have hoped she would have become, and know that I need to keep moving forward. She was born October 15th. Anna Christine Pindell Ridgeway. Her and her sister share the same middle name, and then
her eyes are blue, different blue than Jessica's, but they're blue.
She loves her hands. They're her favorite thing in the whole wide world.
I think Jessica would be enamored.
She's very much ever present. We talk to Jessica, and I think she kind of turns her head. It looks like she's talking to somebody over in the distance, so I think her sister definitely comes and visits and leaves her little sparkly way around. And
Mom and Grandma say they'll tell Anna all about Jessica's sparkle as soon as she's old enough.
I'm mostly gonna say that, she has a big sister that left before she was born.
They want to raise her without fear.
I'm gonna try not to let what happened overshadow how I raise Anna, because I don't want her to be smothered a little bit. I want her to be able to have her own little life.
She's not replaced, she's just expanded.
She definitely has an extra special angel watching over her.
She said she knew Jessica would have been the best big sister, but now she watches over her in a different way, closing the case of Jessica Ridgeway What remains with us is not only the sorrow for a little girl who was always full of energy, but also a powerful reminder of the importance of vigilance within our communities and the role every family plays in protecting children. A single moment of complacency or a small warning sign overlooked can lead to tragedies no one ever expects. Today's story in this true crime documentary reminds us that no matter how busy life becomes, awareness, attentiveness, and caution are always the first line of defense in keeping our most vulnerable safe. Thank you for taking the time to follow this entire story. If you'd like to leave a message in Jessica's memory, feel free to share it in the comments below. Don't forget to share the video so more people can learn about this case. And be sure to like and subscribe to continue joining us in the next episodes of our true crime documentary series. We'll see you again in the stories to come.